difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
I want to thank Manatee Educational Television and Charles Clapsaddle for putting that together. You know, the history of the center goes back to the days of segregation, for this center was actually set up to deal exclusively with, at that time, was colored children. And the demographics have changed, so we serve everyone. But we never want the members of the Palmetto Youth Center to forget the historical context in which this youth center was set up. And it's through people like Charles who make these types of historical documentary snippets, which gives us a perspective of how far we've come and really what this evening is about.
Good evening. I'm going to say it one more time, a little more enthusiasm. Good evening. Good evening. Here they come. 2012 marks the 11th year that the Palmetto Youth Center has hosted the Martin Luther King Speech and Essay Contest. This year we received approximately 150 essays from middle and high school students throughout Manatee County addressing the topic. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s work stressed the values of nonviolence, family, and community. How are you actively working, or how would you actively work to encourage these beliefs? This year's contestants were passionate and hopeful about their futures, although some faced peer pressure, violence, and other challenges in their lives. I was encouraged by the determination of these students to stay positive, and I believe what you hear tonight, you'll be truly inspired from these young people. Before I present the contest winners, I would like to thank our sponsors, the Bradenton Herald for advertising the contest, the Bradenton Herald and Bells for providing gifts for the contest finalists, the Tillis Tutoring Center for providing the cash prizes, and a special thanks to Mrs. Tillis for working so hard with the students that you're going to hear from tonight. She does a great job with them. I would like to thank CS&L and Blaylock Walters for providing the printers and the computers that the grand prize winners will receive tonight. Without our sponsors, this contest would not be possible. So let's give a hand to our sponsors. I would also like to take this opportunity to recognize the contest judges. If you would please stand if you're in the audience tonight. Frida Bellamy, Miss Bellamy, Lily Covington, Reverend Ted Tillis, Karen Whiting, Evelyn Shannon, and Joan Crowder from the Bradenton Herald. To give you an understanding of the contest, each of the entries were evaluated based on how the student complied with the rules of the contest, how they addressed the topic, the effectiveness of their introduction and their conclusion, how innovative their approach to the essay was, and finally, how well they delivered their speeches. And now on to the winners. As I call your name, please come forward, and I have a helper. He's going to help me distribute the awards. We're going to start with the middle school category. The honorable mention in the middle school category is A.J. Rizzo. A.J. is a 7th grade student at Nolan Middle School and will receive a cash prize of $50. Our third place recipient in the middle school category is Sarah Cox. Sarah's an 8th grade student at Nolan Middle School, and she will receive a cash prize of $75. Unfortunately, neither AJ nor Sarah could be here tonight, so I'm going to accept their award on their behalf. Our second place winner in the middle school category is Jake LaFemina. He is a 8th grade student at Nolan Middle School, and he will receive a cash prize of $100. Congratulations. And our grand prize winner in the middle school category, this person will receive a brand new Dell laptop computer and printer and $150 in cash. Our grand prize winner is Monica Esquivel. She's an 8th grade student at Lincoln Middle School. So congratulations, Monica. Now on to our high school category. Our honorable mention recipient in the high school category is John Ashman. John is a senior at Lakewood Ranch High School and will receive a cash prize of $50. Our third place winner in the high school category is Alicia Roser. Alicia is a 9th grade student at Lakewood Ranch High School and will receive a cash prize of $75. And our second place winner in our high school category is Mackenzie Uyura. Mackenzie is a junior at Southeast High School and will receive a cash prize of $100. And last but not least, in our high school category, our grand prize winner will receive a brand new Dell laptop computer and printer and $150, Jordan Sanders. Jordan is a junior at Braden River High School, sorry. He may look familiar. He won a couple of years ago as well. At this time, I would like to invite both speakers up. You were first. Nope, just the grand prize winners. I would like to bring the grand prize winners up. That would be Monica Esquivel and Jordan Sanders. You will first hear from Monica, and immediately following her, you will hear from Jordan. Let's give the kids a great round of applause.
Good evening. I am Monica Esquivel, an 8th grade student at Lincoln Middle School. What a young girl I am to know about drugs, poverty, and killing. To know this is the reality I wake up to every morning. I'm not living in a fairy tale. I live in the city of Palmetto. The city I live in brings me much hurt and pain, but still I carry on to be strong. As I walk down the halls of Lincoln Middle School, you will see a young girl who holds her head up high. She has a 4.0 GPA, always makes Renaissance, and is president of student council. You would think, wow, she's living her life, but you really don't know the true story. We turn on our television every morning just to see and hear everything that's wrong with the world we live in. There are many problems around the world that I am aware of. We all know right from wrong, but many people turn to the wrong ways out of hate, anger, and outrage. When you've been overtaken by such emotion, many times you become that emotion towards others. You become violent. Violence is never the answer. Violence causes even more problems. To encourage my beliefs of non-violence, I talk about the values of love and peace, to always be true to yourself and to always turn to the right ways. I show my beliefs through my character. In fact, if it is to be, it is up to me. I ride upon the same streets every morning on my way to school. Many people call Palmetto the ghetto, but to me, I see it as a reality that has inspired me to be stronger. As Student Council President, our organization takes many actions towards our community. We collect canned food for the Salvation Army. We clean the Hernando de Soto Bridge by picking up trash to help keep Manatee beautiful. We have also adopted a needy family to provide them with resources such as presents for Christmas and food on the table for Thanksgiving. There are many people within our own backyards, our neighbors, relying on their community to lend a helping hand. Hopefully, my actions have impacted the lives I may have touched. I am truly touched by my family. They can never be traded for the entire world. My family has always been by my side ever since I could walk to catch me when I fall. A family is what God has given each of us, and I am so blessed to have a mom to call mom, to have a dad to call dad, and I can never forget my two brothers. Can you imagine what it's like to go home every day, to have someone to carry and hold in your arms? It is so beautiful. My family is invaluable. They are value beyond measures. Without my family, I wouldn't be the person I am today. There are so many things that I have been exposed to at the tender age of 13 that has become part of my life. My ears have heard bullets that still have my ears ringing that I have no restful nights anymore. There are so many pothouses in this community that I have learned all the different terms of cocaine. I am reared to become someone in life, to provide for my family, and to help change my city. I am definitely motivated to stay focused and continue to work hard so that one day I will be able to look back on what I have accomplished in my life and be proud, and to give my help and assistance to others. If Dr. King were alive today, I firmly believe that he would see his dream is truly becoming a reality. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Sanders. I am a junior at Braden River High School, and I would like to dedicate this to my grandfather who passed away 2 nights ago. He was always my biggest fan and supporter. Martin Luther King Jr. could have stayed a simple man. His life could have consisted of spending time with his family, preaching the word to his congregation, far from the limelight, away from the danger. But he felt a call and made a choice. He would sacrifice his simple life for one that would have him lead thousands in marches, spend nights in jail, and even be away from those he loved. It was these choices that changed the world. At 16, can I make choices that change the world? I passionately believe so. As a young African-American male coming from a single-parent home, I can refuse to be a part of some statistic on violence or the dropout rate. I can choose to be the change I want to see in the world. I choose to be nonviolent. I choose to use my talents as a positive influence in my community. And I choose to respect my family. It is through these daily choices that I am helping change the world. Martin Luther King Jr. said, and I quote, "Nonviolence means not only avoiding physical violence, but also internal violence of spirit. You not only refuse to shoot a man, but you refuse to hate him." Unquote. Many young men my age are packing guns and spewing hatred. I choose not to. I choose to be a man of peace, to turn the other cheek when offended. To be honest, this isn't always easy for me. There's a lot of anger in society. I see it in other drivers on the road, I hear it at school, and I watch it on the news. Sometimes I want to strike back verbally, to be more aggressive, to have the final word. But I choose to control these emotions, rather than allowing those emotions to control me. I choose to be a light in a very dark world. Dr. King reminded his followers, and I quote, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" Unquote. He was an eloquent speaker, and his powerful words made the world a better place for others. As he chose to use his talent to make a difference, so do I. I sing and play the saxophone for the Democratic Committee of Manatee County, for events at my school, at several local churches, and for charitable events such as Kiwanis Club, Christmas in July. I also gave concerts for my grandfather and other patients at his nursing home in Sarasota. Is this really making a difference? When a song can make a child spontaneously dance, or a worshiper begin to praise, or a patient sing along, then yes, I believe I have made a difference. And lastly, I choose to respect my family. I'm a teenager, and I don't always agree with my mother and her tough rules. I look around and see everyone else staying out late and having more freedom. Most parents don't seem to be as demanding of good grades as my mom is, either. She pushes me to always be the best in everything I do. But I choose not to be rebellious. I choose to obey my mother and give her the respect and love she deserves, knowing that she always wants what is best for me. Because of her guidance in my life, I excel academically and am prepared for college and my future. By choosing to respect my mother and her rules, I am the young man I am today, the young man with goals and dreams who is out to help change the world. Is it easy to make the tough choices? No. It would be easy to be angry or lazy. It would be easy to follow the crowd, but I believe that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made tough choices daily in his life in order to make this world a better place. Yes, I am only 16 years of age, but I know that with hard work and perseverance, I can follow Dr. King's examples and help make his dream a reality. Thank you.
All right, folks, we are, one of the reasons that they ask a judge to be the master of ceremonies is because we have to make certain decisions. One of the decisions that we are asked to make, a typical one, is should we recognize individually all the dignitaries that are present tonight? And so they turned that question to me, and I answered, no, let's not do that. The number one reason, well, there are two reasons. One reason is time, which I'm always cognizant of. The second is I don't want to leave anyone out, and that's the biggest danger. We're coming into the last part of our program, which is the presentation of awards, and I would like to ask Tina Stevens and Christian Zanders to join me on stage. Christian and Tina? Christian? Tina? We're going to be presenting the awards tonight. We have 5 awards that we will be presenting. Helping me present the awards tonight will be Tina Stevens and Christian Zanders, who are members of the Palmetto Youth Center. I want to talk a little bit about Tina and then a little bit about Christian, and then we'll go into the awards. Tina is a 7th grader at Lincoln Middle School. She's an honor roll student. She's a member of the Future Business Leaders of America, a member of the girls' basketball and cross-country teams. She's been a member of the Palmetto Youth Center and the Trojan Cheer and Dance program for 8 years. She is very active in her church as well, and Tina is the daughter of Tony and Dottie Stevens. And to my right is Christian Zanders. A National All-American Scholar is defined as a person ranking in the top 1% of over 400,000 Pop Warner participants. Christian Zander, an 8th grader at Lincoln Middle and a 5-year Palmetto Trojan football player, has earned this recognition 3 years in a row. Christian is a straight A student with a 5.0 GPA. He has had perfect attendance for 8 years as a Lincoln mentor, plays basketball, sings in the youth choir at St. Andrew's AME Church. Christian does all this while maintaining his rigorous academic load, which includes taking geometry honors at Palmetto High School prior to starting his day at Lincoln. He is the son of Richard and Kelly Mitchell. His goal is to pursue a degree in engineering at either Stanford or Georgetown. And he credits his mother with being the inspiration for his success. Christian stated, quote, "She always stresses the importance of education." So let's have a round of applause for Tina and Christian. And let me just tell you a little bit. Those of you who have been here before know how our awards are presented. We're going to have the Edgar H. Price Humanitarian Award presented tonight, the Louise Johnson Humanitarian Award presented, the Small Business Award presented, the Outstanding Citizenship Award presented, and the Government Award presented. Now, what we do is, through the help of Manatee Educational Television, is that we have videotaped the presenters of the award recipients. And to the screen to my right, to your left, you will see them. And I'm going to have CJ introduce the first award, which will be the Edgar H. Price Humanitarian Award.
Thank you, Judge. Yes, it's the Edgar H. Price Humanitarian Award, and our recipient is our famous and representative, Mr. Jim Boyd, from our area. And the Honorable Gilbert Smith will be doing the introduction. We can roll that.
It is my honor to introduce Jim Boyd as the 2012 recipient of the Edgar H. Price Humanitarian Award. Born into a prominent Manatee County family, Jim did not have to look very far for role models. His grandfather, Hugh Boyd, was a banker on Tercea Island and a community leader. He was one of the first men to support the Boy Scout movement in Manatee County and served in the legislature in 1941. Jim's mother, Alice Boyd, raised Jim and his sister Dee Dee alone after Jim's father, Hugh Boyd, died when Jim was only 3 years old. His aunt and uncle, Fay and Wilbur Boyd, gave Jim all the support they could. Wilbur was a successful businessman and community leader who became one of the most influential senators in Florida during the 1960s and 70s. Jim's family always taught him to give back to his community, which he has done all his life. Jim grew up in Palmetto and learned his solid work ethic from selling fruits and vegetables at his own stand when he was in elementary school. Mowing lawns, throwing the morning newspaper for the Bradenton Herald, becoming a Boy Scout, working as a page in the legislature, selling men's clothes at Smith's department store, working as a runner at Manatee Memorial Hospital, and fighting fires and rescuing people in distress as a volunteer firefighter and then as an emergency medical technician for Manatee County. Jim was always a good student and a leader at a young age. He was student council president at Palmetto High School and a graduate of Manatee Junior College and Florida State University. Upon graduation from college, he joined his uncle's insurance agency, became a successful insurance agent, and worked his way to buying the company later in life. As a young businessman, he met the love of his life, Sandy Boyd, and they raised two successful children, Ansley and Austin. Jim became a leader in every task he tackled, whether at Palmetto Baptist Church, Boyd Insurance, Manatee Chamber of Commerce, Downtown Development Association, Manatee Memorial Hospital, and many other organizations. Jim was elected in 1989 to the Palmetto City Council, where he served for several years as commissioner, vice mayor, and then as the mayor. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s principles of leadership include having a vision, effective communication, willingness to learn, willingness to lead, and conflict resolution. Jim has all these qualities, and his success as a leader derives from his strong work ethic, keen intellect, engaging personality, and sense of humor, eternal optimism, and his faith in God. Now Jim's leadership qualities are showing up in the legislature, where he was elected in 2010, and he makes it look easy. Politics are not as usual for Jim Boyd because of Jim's respect for his fellow man and woman. Jim listens to the citizens of Manatee County and is receptive to their needs. Jim's character has put him in a place where he will become a statesman, like so many others before him, and especially like Senator Ed Price, who this award is named after. Congratulations, Jim, on earning the 2012 Edgar H. Price Humanitarian Award. We all know the best is yet to come from you and your service to this community.
Wow, I should just sit down. Gilbert, you're a wonderful friend, and that was an incredible introduction. Very generous, and I'm not so sure I deserve all of it, but thank you so much. I'll be very brief. I know there's a lot of pressure after these young people had such eloquent speeches earlier, and these fine young people and all they've accomplished. There's not a lot left for us to say, but I would like to just say a few things, because this is just such a touching and just humbling award that we're being presented tonight. You know, as we join together for this wonderful banquet this weekend and this coming Monday, people all over the world are celebrating Martin Luther King Day in many ways. Some celebrate with speeches, others celebrate his life and works by performing plays, having parades, candlelight marches, ringing church bells, and flying the American flag, honoring one of America's greatest leaders. Tonight we reflect on Dr. King and how he felt very strongly about the rights of Black Americans. Dr. King felt and believed that everyone of every color should have equal rights. The right to work, the right to make an honest living, the right to vote, and to receive a good education. Dr. King believed in using love instead of hate to settle disagreements. Dr. King was also a man of great faith. Often in my work and political service, when I'm struggling with a decision, I'm reminded of one of his quotes about faith, and that is, faith is taking the first step even when you can't see the whole staircase. He was an influential leader who will always be remembered and honored in this country. Tonight, my family and I are very honored and humbled that you would select me to receive such a high honor in his name by receiving the Edgar Price Humanitarian Award. Senator Price, as he has been to so many others, has been a mentor to me and my family through the years, and he truly emulates on this earth what Dr. King stood for. I am deeply grateful for this honor and will continue my commitment to you that I have always tried to work to bring our community together in a way that Dr. King would be proud of. Thank you, CJ. Thank you, Judge Williams, board members, Chris. It's an incredible honor, and I'm very grateful to receive it tonight. Thank you.
Our next award that will be presented will be the Louise Johnson Humanitarian Award. And to introduce the award is actually a recipient of the Humanitarian Award in 1998, and that is our own Pat Glass. And I want to welcome Pat here, and at this time I'm going to ask that we take a look at Pat, who's going to introduce Ms. Carol Whitmore, the award recipient.
What a joy to share memories of a friend who is recognized this evening for her community service and stellar contributions. Carol Whitmore, a woman who gained strength and character through adversity. In the early 80s, I saw Carol in the audience when the County Commission was negotiating the sale of Manatee Memorial Hospital. As a young nurse, she was sharply concerned about this challenging issue. Carefully considering outcomes for health care, she was and is interested in the general welfare of the community. But above all, caring in so many ways. As the minutes that evening became hours, that singular event shaped the beginning of her career in leadership. The political arena became her extension of patient care to the highest level of involved citizenship. As city mayor or county commissioner, she has honed her skills in well-informed policy and a compassionate, in-touch outreach to the many in dire need of help. Carol could have followed the high fashion runway as a model, but found herself better equipped to recognize pain and poverty and carve out workable solutions. Now that's talent. Congratulations, Carol, on receiving the Louise Rogers Johnson Humanitarian Award. It is a well-deserved recognition of your many contributions to our community.
Well, I can't see my notes because I'm crying already. First of all, Pat, thank you for the very kind words, and you are right. I sat out there in the audience the day they sold Manatee Hospital in my white uniform and my white shoes. And Mr. Livingston, I know you're out there, but it's Reverend Livingston. He was my nursing supervisor at the time, and he probably was there with me. So it was a wonderful day because, you know, Pat Glass was a class act then, and she's a class act now. So I'm honored and humbled to receive this award. To be recognized in the name of Louise Rogers is truly an honor. Miss Johnson was the first African American to ever be elected to the school board at the time. A year after her death, 1,000 people got together, signed a petition, and today we have Johnson Middle School. Thank you to the school board of Manatee County. The criteria for this award was the demonstration of culture diversity and the promotion of multicultural understanding. It is this recipient's practice since being a nurse since 1977 and that has seen pain, sorrow, mangled bodies, helplessness, joy, and happiness, not to look at if the patient had insurance, if they have money, if they have a place to live, or if they believe the same thing that I do, or what color they are. It has been ingrained in me in my career as a nurse and as in public office that it doesn't matter who you are, my goal in life has always been to help. My daughter Janae, who's sitting up here in the front, who is here tonight, gave me a book a few years ago for Christmas called For My Mother. The question was answered, that she answered really touched me. And the question was, the most powerful lessons you ever taught me were, does anybody need a nurse? No, that wasn't it. Sorry. And she said, treat people how you would want to be treated. And most important, the color of someone is just what's on the outside. We are all the same inside. I thought I had done the right thing raising my daughter as a single mother when I heard that. And I showed what she had written to me to my good friend, Commissioner Gwen Brown, who I just now saw. And as you all know how Gwen is, she just smiled at me. Unfortunately, there are people out there that color does matter. I see less in the younger kids and pray that when they are my age, color and someone not looking at, what color they are, they won't even give it a second thought. As someone who grew up on Anna Maria Island since 1969 and lived on my own since the age of 15, my reason to get up every day was to help others. Many helped me when I had no place to live or did not know where the next meal was coming from. I vowed many years ago that I would do everything in my power to make sure no one would ever have to go through what I did. Mr. Tillis is here in the audience today, and he is actually my teacher when I was going through these hard times. So I saw you stand up, and thank you, Mr. Tillis. My nursing definitely helped me achieve these goals. And when I saw Pat Glass and followed her throughout the years, I wanted to be able to do good in a broader arena. My years in home speech prepared me to fill the vacant seat when Pat decided not to run again. It was my destiny. I filled the seat of someone I had admired since the 80s. Martin Luther King is quoted as saying, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? I feel that this quote is what I have stood for since I was a young adult. I volunteer at the Homeless Coalition. I've worked with AIDS patients. I've worked with the sick and helpless, those less fortunate, including to make Manatee County the first state in Manatee County the first to be, oh goodness, no kill, and one of the few in the country. I have a few animal friends over here. I have friends in the audience that I've known since teenage years. My old island friends, where we shared luxury apartments for $50 a month. My friends from Manatee Hospital, where I worked for 15 years, and many others whose paths have crossed over the years. There's 3 county commissioners here tonight that I have served in office with when we served as mayors of cities. Former mayors and now county commissioners, Larry Bussell and John Chappie are here. County Commissioner Gallen is also here tonight. We call him the kid because he's the youngest one. Also, there's a table of home speech commissioners here tonight. Chairman David Zaccanino and Jean Palin, and my former city commissioner years ago, Roger Lutz. It really is true that you cannot accomplish what I have been able to without your family. My husband, Andre Renard, who I've convinced to do surgery on the homeless once a month. My daughter, Janae Rudisell, and her husband, Scott. They all have put up with their wife, mother, and mother-in-law. They've had to deal with me never being home or inviting someone who did not have a place to go for Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner. My husband has just accepted that I will not be making dinner tonight. And after a long day at the hospital, and he is on trauma call at Blake tonight, so if anybody sees him leave, please don't leave without checking to make sure I don't have a way home. Unfortunately for them, with my daughter, we live on the same block. But that's been good for me because now I have a little grandson, Cale, who's been the light of my life. Again, I thank you for the honor of receiving the Louise Rogers Johnson Humanitarian Award, and I hope that Ms. Johnson would have been proud that I ever received this in the honor of her name. Thank you.
For the next award, it's a small business award. The Hunters are going to receive them. Chief John McGinnis, we can roll that too.
Hi, my name is John McInnes, Fire Chief of the North River Fire District. It is my honor and privilege to introduce the recipients of this year's Small Business Award to Slick and Jane Humphreys of Slick's Garage. You could not have chosen better ambassadors or friends to receive such a prestigious award. I have known Slick and Jane since they chose to move here to our fine community. Of all the areas to relocate to, from Texas to Florida, Slick and Jane chose Palmetto, Florida. Since day one, both Slick and Jane have been active in charity work, community functions, and being good ambassadors for our community and businesses. Both Slick and Jane support our local businesses as well as local charities. Slick and Jane have raised thousands of dollars for the Palmetto Youth Center, as well as raising awareness of the need for a positive influence on our young men and women that the Palmetto Youth Center provides. On behalf of the Fire District, our families and friends, congratulations, Slick and Jane.
Just for the record, it's Mr. and Mrs. Slick.
I think that was a subtle joke on their behalf after our recent wedding. So it's kind of embarrassing to be up here because we're following not only a whole load of high-rolling political heads, but people with a lot of education way above mine and way above Slick. So we're going to do our best, so bear with us. We're the evidence you can succeed despite it. So one thing that I have learned, though, as a self-confessed control freak, is that life, no matter what you think, is a series of random opportunities, and that there really is no clear path. So fate will help guide your way, but often your path also depends on outside influences, and you can't control them. And but the thing you can control is the choices that you make along the journey. That's where it comes in. That's where you make the change. As most of us in the room will acknowledge, as we grow older, we're supposed to be able to have the experience to make those choices, and in theory, they should be easier. But despite that, with the youngsters in the room, we can all admit we don't always make the right choices. So, it's and also, as you grow older, you should be able to gain the power to free yourself from some of those outside influences, but they still remain, whether they're peer or political pressure, family or faith. The foundations that are laid in your youth continue to shape your life throughout your life. And as we change our influences that we can get away from, we often just go ahead and set ourselves financial and material goals that just further misguide us. One thing I've learned is that everybody struggles, and clearly some people have more struggles than others, but the struggles are still there. Some of us in our lives have made some bad choices. and
good ones.
And have gone along the wrong path. Some of us, like the previous winner, I myself had a different path thrust upon me. I also, as a teenager, was on my own, homeless and working 3 jobs, working through the end of high school and 3 jobs through college. So whichever way, the path's never easy. It might look easy because you're white and from a middle-class family, but you don't know because you've not been there. For anybody, everyone's path is different, and it's always hard. So whatever the circumstance, the one thing we all have is the power to make fresh choices and find our path, and we all have a power to make a change. Slick and I made a commitment when we opened Slick's Garage right here in Palmetto that we'd not only make that change in our own lives, but that we would be determined to do what we could to make a change in our community. Because if we weren't going to make a change here, who would? It's down to us. So we wanted to reinstall the idea that change only happens when individuals, you and me, make it happen. And believers, that decision as a new business in this economy, in this political environment, has not always been easy for us to follow through on. But, the right path never is easy, so we followed it anyway. And to be here on this weekend and to know that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. embodied the power of change, and that a major part of his legacy is that we can take with us, is that we all have the power to change a life. We all have the power to change our community. And who knows? Some of these kids in the room, children, youths, whatever term I'm supposed to use, these people are going to have the power to change beyond just our community. They're probably going to change the country and the world, and we have to support them in doing that and make it possible. So it's our wish that we can encourage someone who has not already done so, in the words of the immortal Michael Jackson, to look in the mirror, look at the man in the mirror, and if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change.
Thanks, dear. Now I have to follow that. I feel like a garage band after Elvis just went on. Well, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves up and do my best here. Forgive me if I'm a little bit cluttered for words. I had my loyal pet of 7 years pass away Sunday, and then Joel Jarvis, who owned the Olympia, passed away last night. I don't know if you knew him. He did a lot for the community also. So I'm a little stammered. I'm sorry about that. I don't know that I'm actually worthy of this award. I think there's a lot of other people out there that do a whole lot for the community that deserve this just as much as I do. In fact, everyone can do something. But there's law enforcement, there's the fire department, there's the church. They're open 24 hours a day. They're there for you. You know, we do what we can. That's what we do, and everyone should do what they can in that point. I guess the analogy I generally use is positivity breeds positivity in the form of, if you mow your lawn, you'd be surprised that the whole block starts mowing their lawn. They don't want to look bad. You put up Christmas lights, everyone else puts up Christmas lights. Make a change, and you'd be surprised how much you can take an influence. Your actions are always perceived by everyone else, whether you realize it or not. And there's a positive, you know, force that needs to be put out there. If you're going to be that guy, they're looking to you. And if someone has something positive to follow, a whole community will follow behind you. And we've had that luck. I mean, the whole community has got behind us, and what we do with First Fridays on 5th, it's actually what gives us the money to take and donate to the Palmetto Youth Center. And it's a family event. It's what it should be. There's no alcohol, there's no drugs, there's no guns, there's no violence, there's no anything. It's just fun. There's music, there's cars, the occasional pinup girl.
Not me.
Oh, come on. You'd be surprised at how small of a change that you makes a big change in someone else's life. I mean, my shop can vouch for this. We had a gentleman that was homeless that I saw kicking the dumpster over there, just looking for a couple dollars here and some cans, and he said, could you spare a couple dollars? And I said, I got $5 in my pocket, literally. And it was the truth. That's all I had on my pocket. And I said, hey, look, if you come back a couple hours, I'll go to the ATM, I'll get a couple bucks for you to help you out. And I guess he figured I was blowing him off. And I walked back in the shop, and I saw him over there crying over my dumpster, actually. And it was just, it was too moving. So I go over, and here's my $5. And he's like, I can't take your last $5. I'm like, I can come up with money. I mean, that's not going to be a problem. I mean, just take care of yourself. A month later, that gentleman came up. He had just gotten a job and gave me $10 in return. You just never know how you touch someone's life. I mean, ever. It's a hand up, not a hand out. I mean, if you look at it in the right respect. I mean, there's a lot of people that need it, and if you see it, help them. You'd be surprised that you actually are helping yourself in a lot of ways. Dr. Martin Luther King had a dream, he had a vision, and looking in this room, it's obvious he's accomplished that dream and vision. And I got to say, I had a dream and a vision, and thanks to my new wife and my extended family over here from Slick's Garage, who I all consider dear friends and family, I got to accomplish my dream also. And I think if you dream big, you never know where it'll take you. And I'm here to say, well, I'm here, right? So I guess on that note, actually, we just are being courted by a major network to do a global TV series. So expect to see Palmetto on the map. Thank you very much.
Our next award is going to be the Outstanding Citizenship Award that's going to be awarded to Mary Lancaster. And the presenter, Henry Jones, introduced himself to me before today. He didn't know me, but he knew my father. He was a paramedic that actually worked on my father up in St. Petersburg, where I'm from. So that's a small world, and I'm glad to be able to introduce Henry Jones, who's going to be introducing the winner of the Outstanding Citizenship Award. So let's take a look.
Hello, I'm here to speak about a lady that has been a great influence in my life. I know her to be a caring, loving, and thoughtful person who also had a vision for the community that she lived in. That vision led her to run for city commission in 1997. After winning the election, she proceeded to try and get some needed improvements for the community and the city of Palmetto. That lady is former city commissioner of Palmetto and my mother, Mrs. Mary L. Lancaster, recipient of this year's Outstanding Citizen Award. Some of Mrs. Lancaster's accomplishments while on the city commission includes, but is not limited to, bringing a greater city commitment to revitalizing Ward 1, a completed stormwater project that controls flooding in the Oak Ridge community. That problem has existed for decades. She also helped to eliminate flooding in the Jackson Park area with the addition of a retention pond. The first phase of a section of Ward 1 already completed, and the second phase already started includes road reconstruction, sidewalks and curb installation, stormwater systems, and street lighting. She also presided over the raising of blighted apartments to make way for a Habitat for Humanity village of homes. She has always been dedicated to the people she represented and was always available to them. Her deep concern for the entire city of Palmetto is commendable. She also has served as a board member of various organizations, including the Manatee Opportunity Council, the Palmetto North County Enterprise Zone, the City of Palmetto Code Enforcement Board. She is always seeking ways to implement programs to improve the quality of life in Ward 1, and is a faithful member of Bible Baptist Church. Congratulations, Mrs. Mary Lancaster, my mom, on earning the 2012 Outstanding Citizen Award.
I would first like to thank my son for that wonderful introduction, and for my granddaughter who's back there, table 51, who took time out of her busy schedule to come here tonight. I love you both very, very much. I'd like to thank you so much for this great honor. It means so much to know that my friends and neighbors and our community appreciate my commitment to Palmetto. However, I must share with you that I have never served for recognition. Many, many years ago, I saw needs in the city of Palmetto that was not being addressed, and thought that I could help address those needs. That, my friends, was just the beginning of a long and interesting adventure. But by the grace of God, I made it through. I would encourage each of you to do the same. Serve your community, give of your gifts, and fill a need. Thank you for showing me and all of us that the community recognizes and appreciates the spirit of giving. Thank you so very much for this award.
Ms. Lancaster is truly an inspiration to our city. Thank you for serving our great community. And now we're going to have the government award. Back when I became an attorney, I met these two gentlemen you're going to meet. That was a few years ago. Lawrence had his long hair, would play basketball and do trials. He actually did trials when I met him. And the gentleman that'll be introducing him, Stephen Walker, who is a great trial attorney, a friend for many years, an honorable man, gets the honor of introducing a good friend of ours, and I think even the judges back in the day. Actually, believe it or not, Judge Williams was a public defender and used to counsel us all. But these guys are inspirational men that give to the community in ways that most folks don't know how they serve the public of this community. At this time, if we can roll that tape from Mr. Walker.
In 1963, Dr. King reminded us that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. As Dr. King spoke those words, the United States Supreme Court was boldly contemplating a series of decisions that would profoundly advance criminal justice. Dr. King's supporters were fueled and inspired by moral legitimacy. The decisions of our Supreme Court would afford the movement vital legal legitimacy. What the justices saw in the cases argued before them, Dr. King's supporters saw and experienced firsthand. A dismal picture of official lawlessness, illegal searches, illegal detentions, coerced admissions of guilt, and a denial of counsel. The court took extraordinary action back then to establish the principle that a civilized society must have a sentry on the front line, an individual charged with the responsibility of protecting liberty and advancing the rights and principles fundamental to a legitimate system of justice. That individual would become the public defender. Larry Edgar, the public defender of our 12th Judicial Circuit, has been that sentry for us. He has lived all of his professional life on the front line as a government attorney that protects the rights of those accused of crimes. Not a pleasant place to be. Rather than pursue a lucrative, comfortable career as a trial lawyer in private practice, he followed a greater calling. Fundamental to that calling is faith in those principles that make us great. A belief that law protects every individual, despite the facts and circumstances of his case, and those protections must endure. It is difficult to sustain the idealism and passion in those mandates year after year in the gritty, underpaid world of the public defender, which deals with difficult issues and people that society would rather condemn or ignore. Few attorneys can do this thankless work for a long time. It is not comfortable. It is not convenient. And yet, for the last 27 years, Larry has maintained his deep conviction and fervor that the rights bestowed in the Constitution are worth fighting for. I have known Larry for almost all of those years, starting with my own years as an assistant public defender in the same office. He still possesses that angry young man passion in defense of the Constitution. In my conversations with him, he still maintains how fortunate it is that he has the privilege of helping to make sure the law of the land is upheld, which often means protecting the rights of the least likable among us. Men and women who dedicate themselves to community service do not seek praise, do not seek accolades. Their reward comes from the nobility of their cause. I know Larry feels this way. But if we believe Dr. King's words that the ultimate measure of a man is where he stands at times of challenge and controversy, then Larry Edgar remains that proud, tall sentry on the front lines of justice. It's all he ever wanted to be, and we are fortunate to have him.
Well, if I had any sense, I'd just sit down now. But I'm a lawyer. I want to start, I feel like there was a super PAC because this is the first I heard or saw of that, so I'm kind of taken aback. So I truly want to thank you, Stephen, for those words. I don't know if I'm deserving of them, but I do thank you. I guess I do want to compliment or point out a few other people here today. Obviously, the first person who I want to point out is my wife, Susan, who is seated beside me. For all those years, I have been in the public defender's office, which is my entire legal career. She has stood beside me as well. So as much praise goes to her as to anyone. I also would like to point out a couple of people, starting with Judge Williams. And Judge Williams, believe it or not, was my supervisor when I was an intern in the Public Defender's Office years ago. So I do want to praise his guidance that he has given me over the years. An interesting jump from there would be Judge Moreland, who I got to be her supervisor when she came to the Public Defender's Office, and then her career leapfrogged mine clearly when she became a circuit judge. And one last person who I wanted to point out, and that would be who's looking away, bored, as always, Judge Durand Adams, who I've spent a number of years practicing before and who has been, in many ways, an inspiration to me over the years. I was thinking of turning this over now to Christian because he's probably a much better speaker than I am, so that was my first inclination, but I guess I'm required to give a few words here. Are you ready? No. Okay. First of all, I must tell you, it's hard for me to wrap my head around the idea of my name and Dr. King's being mentioned in the same sentence. I feel that I'll be spending the rest of my life trying to live up to this honor. I must also add that this award does not go to me alone. It belongs to all of the men and women in the Public Defender's Office, and I mean all of them, past and future. From the lawyers to the support staff. These people do their jobs and serve our clients in our community day in and day out because they believe that everyone deserves legal representation. There's something else I believe in, and it's something that I've tried to guide my own life by. Now, we all know the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But by my estimation, this sets the bar too low. What we should strive for instead is to do unto others as we would have them do unto our own children. I can always shortchange myself, but I will never shortchange my children or any other child. It was Dr. King who reminded us that we are all God's children, and we should all be treated equally with justice. This is the universal guiding principle of a humane existence on earth, and what has guided my life as a public defender, a father, and as a member of humanity. So it seems only appropriate that when I think of this rule and Dr. King, that we honor his legacy at the Palmetto Youth Center tonight, asking ourselves, what can we do for our children and for each other? Again, I humbly thank you for this award. And thank you to them.